To the December 9th meeting of Municipal Code Enforcement. This board is called to order. If everyone would please stand for this Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented tonight. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rule of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. The board members may question any witness. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chairman and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. At this time, I'll ask that all persons who expect to give testimony tonight please stand and be sworn in by the clerk.
Please raise your right hand if you plan to speak. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give or present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Please note that we may take cases out of order depending on which respondents may or may not be here. Thank you. Okay, next we have our ex parte communications. If anybody on the board has spoken to or have received any written communications from anybody that is being presented here tonight, any of the respondents, please let us know. If you received oral communications, let us know how you received that, whether it was in person or telephone call, and what the sum and substance of that communication was. If you received written communication, let us know the date and the form of that communication as well. Thank you. Start with you.
No, nothing for me.
I've had none?
I've had none. And none.
Thank you. Before we get into the actual meeting, we have a very special guest with us tonight. Our newly elected mayor, Mr. Ross, is here with us, and I believe he'd like to say a couple words to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome. Good evening, board members and people in the audience. Also, I hate to talk with my back to you, but I have no choice. So I know everybody here, but I do want to come and say hello to you as a board and let you know that I and the rest of the city council, our vice mayor is with us tonight also, and we really appreciate the work that you do on behalf of the city. And I know people say that all the time, but we really do. We mean that when we say it. And, you know, one of the things that makes Temple Terrace a great place is the citizen involvement. And it really, for you guys to take time out of your evening and to come and do the work of the code board really means a lot. We could do what a lot of jurisdictions do and hire a magistrate to do this, but really this is the way it's supposed to be. You know, the respondents, the residents of the city who come before you with alleged code violations, they come before a board of their neighbors, their fellow citizens, and really that's the best, I think, the best way. And we're grateful to have you and the other citizens who serve on boards. I'm trying to make my way to every board. Obviously, with the pandemic has made that kind of challenging because not everybody's meeting as frequently. So really, that's all I have to say. I don't want to prolong your meeting, but I probably have time for a brief question, or if anybody has a brief question or two that I can respond to in a short time.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor?
Sure. That's it. You saved that for Facebook. One of the questions that people often ask is, you know, how's the city doing financially with the COVID and the redevelopment and our debt? And I will tell you that now is a very optimistic time in Temple Terrace. It's a very good time. The city is in very good shape right now, financially and otherwise. We're in very good shape. Now, the budget that the council passed that took effect October 1st is a good budget. Our revenues are good. Our budget is balanced as is required by law. We've paid down a lot of our redevelopment debt. We're in good standing with that. We still have more to pay down, but we have some properties still up for sale too. Things are coming up out of the ground. You see building going on. Financially, we're good. Our capital improvement program is on track. We are doing the things that we plan to do in the 5-year plan, all of those things. Nothing has been suspended. We've been able to, over the past 4 or 5 years, fix some of our pay scale issues in order to retain our valuable employees. We're now on a good place as far as market with salaries, so we're attracting and retaining our qualified and very good employees, of which we have the best, and we want to keep them. We have a new health insurance program in the pike that we are going to roll out here pretty quick that immediately will help a little bit, but the beauty of this is that over time, we should be in a better position each year. It's kind of hard to explain that in a couple of sound bites, but we'll be partially self-insured so that as time goes on, we should be better positioned to provide some premium relief to our employees, which is a problem right now. So we have a lot of great things going on. We're very good. We're healthy. You know, nobody knows what the full impact of COVID's going to be. We're a little concerned about next year's financial impact because nobody knows. But right now we're good, and we have a great council. They're very hard-working, very dedicated people, and the beauty is we have a diverse group of people with different backgrounds and different strengths, so we each bring something a little different to the table, which makes for a very good council. So I think we have good chemistry. We have things going very well. I hope I can tell you that next year. I hope the economy holds out and things are good, but right now we're good. So the only thing I would ask of you, and a lot of you do it already, if you see or hear negative or rumors or, oh, what about this, what about that, they're doing this, they're doing that, please check it out. I'm very easy to find. So the vice mayor is too. I mean, everybody's got our phone numbers, our emails. Please check it out, because a lot of the negative stuff you hear either is maybe based in truth, but it's taken on a life of its own, or, it's not true, and I can help you to understand a little better. And so we're too small a city for that, so please do your own fact-checking, and I'll be happy to do that for you, as Mrs. Donahue and the other council members are, I'm sure, happy to do that as well. So, Mr. Chair, thank you for the time, and thank you guys for all your service, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, before we get into the agenda, are we taking cases in order tonight, or do you have some cases we're going to take early?
We have the approval of the minutes, and we are, we are taking 2 cases out of order.
Okay, which case are we taking first?
The first case is case number 24917.
917. Okay, and the second one?
The lien reduction.
Okay, then we're back to normal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we might, after that, we might take a few cases out of order, just to keep the officers up there for the
Okay.
cases. So we have to wipe things down less.
And we just have the one lien reduction tonight?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
The packet is at everyone's, for the lien reduction, it's at everyone's spot.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. Okay, so, we did that. Okay, meeting of November 12th meeting minutes. Have all the boards received a copy of the meeting minutes from November 12th? Does anybody have any changes or edits they want to make to the meeting minutes?
No.
Seeing none, I'll call for a vote to approve the minutes, rather. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Okay, so on to the first case. Case number 20-4917.
Case number 24917, City versus Bajita Mafia Zaman for the property located at 108 Oak Ridge Avenue. The case is before the board based on the alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated by Community Development on October 12, 2020 regarding the need for building, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits for interior renovations. I went directly to a notice of violation, which was prepared on October 12th with a compliance date of October 19th, 2020. I posted the notice at the site as well as at City Hall, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. On November 19th, I checked the status of this case with Community Development. As no plans have been submitted or permits applied for, I prepared a notice of hearing on that date, scheduled the case for this December Municipal Code Board meeting. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violations taken by me on October 12th, 2020.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
Exhibit number 1 shows the notice of violation posting. I have had contact from the property owner stating he expected to be submitting business or building plans on the week of December 7th, but as of this date, no plans have been submitted. The site is not in compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
That's it. So how many permits or separate permits were required? More than
At
one?
this point, they're saying general building permit, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical.
Is that 4 separate permits?
Yes, sir.
And none of them have been applied for?
Correct. The plans haven't been,
No plans have been submitted, no?
correct.
No plans, no?
Since the plans haven't been submitted, then the permits can't be
Right.
requested.
And you, I thought I heard you say that your last conversation with the respondent, they said they were gonna have them on November 7th?
December 7th.
December 7th. And here we are on the 9th, and they haven't been submitted. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
You're welcome,
Is the
sir.
respondent here tonight?
Yes, sir, I believe he is.
Okay, would the respondent like to approach? State your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Marfia Bizitazaman. This case was 104 Oak Ridge Avenue, and I would like to, my uncle will speak on my behalf. My
Okay,
English is not good. So.
just state your name for the record too, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Fakir Hussain. I'm a resident of 110 Oak Ridge Avenue.
Thank you.
Sir. So this 108 we purchased not so long ago. Prior to that, the property was unoccupied for almost 10 years. So the inside of the property was completely damaged. And we had a development plan for the property that we're going to make an expansion in the back along with the property and make it much bigger than what it is right now. So we have been in discussion with the Director of Community Development, Mr. Amir. So we sent him the site layout, how we want this to look, and then we also gave him some detailed drawings of the plan, just the layout itself, to get his blessing that this is something would be permitted, that would meet the site coverage and all other requirements. So we got his blessing, and then he told us, okay, go ahead and get the blueprint developed and come back. So that's the stage we were in to get the blueprint developed. But only work that we wanted to do in the house is the roof was leaking really, really bad, causing further damage to the house. So we wanted to get the roof repaired. So we applied for the roof permit, and roof was replaced by a professional license holder, and that inspection has passed. So any other work we have done is really auxiliary to do the roof, because some of the woods were completely eaten up, completely damaged from water damage for the previous 10 years and whatever else. So at this point, when the roof inspector came to look at the property, they saw that we were doing some other work. Those were really to support the wood and beams and all the structure to be there. And in terms of the plumbing and mechanical and electrical, because of the expansion is kind of bigger than the house itself, it's going to be all designed together because it's going to be all replaced. Because even the laundry room where all the mechanical things are being served now, that's going to be taken out altogether. So all this work is being designed at the same time. So we got the red tag when that came out of the roof inspection. They said that you guys did some other work beside the roof, so you need to pull XYZ permit. So once we got that, we then I then started contacting professionals that, okay, look, while we are still designing the house, we've been asked to pull these 3 permits. So can you guys come and take a look, and what do we need to do just for the portion that we already have? And we will then connect it with the bigger house in the back. So in that context, and I agreed with the price with an air conditioning company, and they submitted a permit application just for the mechanical part of it. And they were told that they would not be given it because there is a red tag in place at the moment, which has to be dealt with first before any other permits can be issued. So at this point, I was in touch with the lady who actually gave us the red tag violation in the first place. And then I explained her all this thing I just explained to you. And she said, oh, if you're already in touch with Mr. Amir, then I'm just going to not deal with this at all. I'm just going to set it aside and wait until your plans come through. So I thought that was the end of it. A few days later, she called me back and she said she had a chat with Mr. Amir, and Mr. Amir acknowledged that we are in discussion with him about what we're planning to do. However, he recommended her that they don't actually let the red tag go, but just kind of put it on the side until I have the chance to have the fully plan developed and submitted in, and at that point, this will be discharged.
Okay.
So I am working with the company. These guys are professional. They are draftsmen, but they give me timeline. They just miss. It's not that they intentionally miss. They have some staff sickness with COVID. They had to outsource the mechanical parts. So I have significant portion of the drawing already developed. It's here. We're not just saying whatever. So I have this I want to submit as evidence, and these details I have also sent to Mr. Amir and also the Ms. Bennett, who actually gave us the violation in the first place, that we are making progress, but unfortunately some parts of the drawing is still outstanding, particularly mechanical.
Do you think you need until?
So I asked him that question to him this morning, that, and the board, at the least they're going to ask me, so when? They're going to ask me when. So he said, look, because of Christmas coming up, this holiday is coming up, I want to tell you we'll be ready in 2 weeks, but we still haven't sourced the mechanical person yet, because the person that was going to do it, that person is refusing to do it because of too busy with work, and they can't give it to you because you're working on a tight timeline. So he's finding someone else. So he is telling me that in 2 weeks' time, he is very hopeful that all the work will be done, then it will be reviewed by the engineer and get it signed and sealed. But he said, if you are going to meet the board, do ask for a little bit extra time considering the holidays. So I expect this whole thing will be ready by middle of, if this was something I could do myself, I would expedite and do it, but I have to rely on the design professionals. And I'm just a small customer. They're doing their best, but I have detailed drawing already at a quite advanced stage. So in a month or so, I should be having the whole design completed, sir.
When's our next hearing?
January 13th.
January 13th?
And I also have, evidence of email correspondence with the relevant officers of the city.
So do you think by January 13th, 2021, you'll have your plans in?
I'll go back and have a meeting with tomorrow, and I'll tell him that the board has been really gracious to allow me this time. Please make sure.
Haven't done it yet.
It's just something that I am not going to do. If this is something I was going to do, like I'm an IT professional. If you told me, okay, go make this website, I can tell you in 3 days it'll be ready. But because I'm relying on these people and they're already paid significant amounts, so I can't just change the vendor easily either. But I'll go and tell them, look, this is the meeting outcome as of yesterday, and I really need this done because this was meant to be done a month ago, and this is still
Okay.
this phase.
Any questions for the respondent?
No.
You can have a seat, thank you.
Do I give this to yourself? Or?
You can if you want. Ernie?
That's a copy of the drawings?
This is the state where it is as of this morning.
All
With
right.
drawing.
You probably don't want to give those up. Does
That's
the
what I'm
board
saying,
want to
yeah.
look at them at least? Or
Well, his testimony is that they're not quite finished, that he needs another month to get it totally, or needs 2 weeks to get it totally finished. We meet in a month. I think his testimony is enough for this board to understand that while the drawings that he has in his hands are incomplete, that they will be complete within a couple of weeks, is what he was told.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's enough. We don't need to see the drawings.
Thank you, sir.
All right. In case number 204917, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 108 Oak Ridge Avenue. Violation number 8, section 28A-1. This motion is based on a small testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be, sorry, I lost my,
Okay.
I, okay. I further move that this violation be corrected on or before January 13, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violators to correct their violation, and any previous violation committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. So what happens now is you have until the 13th of January 2021 in order to get your permits. If for some reason your drawings are still in the review process, you can come back that night, the 13th, and tell us that the status of it, and there's a chance you may be able to get an extension. Okay? So right now, you're looking at fines of $25 a day starting on the 13th of January if you don't have your permits by then. Okay? Did you want to add anything, Ernie?
No.
Okay. Next case, please. Thank you.
We will now have the lien reduction presented by Director Baroni.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance Director. At this time, I would like to introduce this lien reduction petition request in case number 17-0773, City versus Ivan Baby and Sally Joseph, property located at 7523 Terrace River Drive, with a lien amount of $4,400. This case originated back on April 5th, 2017, for exterior stained walls on the east side of the structure. The violation was presented to the Code Board on June 14, 2017, and was found in violation of the City Code with a fine amount of $50 per day. The property was brought into compliance on October 9, 2020, with 11 inspections by code staff totaling $415, and the city clerk's cost of $130 totals $445. My recommendation to the board this evening is to reduce the lien amount from $4,400 to the city cost of $545. I came to this conclusion based on the petitioner's application. There was some family medical issues going on at the house, and I think that the lien reduction is a proper amount. And I do have a copy of the violation back in
I wait
2017.
for Ernie, we'll accept that once Ernie gets back.
Okay. So I'm just going to show this was the violation of the lien reduction in 2017. If any of the board members want to see it, that's up to them.
Sure, we'll accept that, thank you.
And the next council meeting, which is going to be December 15th, that's,
We'll be-
if approved tonight, we'll,
Get that on the agenda?
yes.
Okay. Okay, any questions for the board?
See,
I
Mr.
just
Snelling's got his hand raised. Yes, sir.
Just one, just a couple. So currently the house is in compliance. There's no issues with the condition of the house.
There's no problems with the issues of the house right now.
Is it occupied?
I don't know. It came to my desk this morning,
Okay.
so we kind of hurried this whole process up, so I'm not sure. But I can tell you it was in compliance since 2017.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for the code enforcement officer?
Thank you.
Thank you. I assume the respondent's here. If you want to say something, come on up. Have you been sworn in?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Yep, my name is Bennett Abraham. My primary address is 16301 Turnbridge Court. However, I'm representing my deceased father, Ivan Baby, and my mom, Sally Joseph, who are the owners of 7523 Terrace River Drive.
Okay.
Just calling into attention and kind of reiterating what the Director of Code Enforcement had mentioned. In April of 2017, my father, Mr. Ivan Baby, was diagnosed with stage 4 glioblastoma, otherwise commonly known as brain cancer. My parents were forced to go to Texas to reside with my parents for additional care. My father only lived for about 18 months after that, and so basically we started taking over responsibilities for the property. In April of 2018, the whole exterior of the home was painted in accordance to the HOA compliance and guidelines for the Terrace River Master Association. The home, right now, we're kind of forced to sell the home to cover some medical expenses on behalf of my mother. And so right now, we're in the process of, we put a new roof, new air conditioning unit, everything is brought up to compliance. We have an offer on the property, which is actually a resident within the subdivision as well, and we're hoping to close on the property next week.
Thank you. Any questions for the respondent? Thank you, sir. At this point, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Okay, thank you.
In case number 17-0773 for the property located at 7523 Terrace Ridge Drive, upon hearing the facts and argument from the city and the property owner, I hereby move that the board recommend to City Council that the lien be reduced from $4,400 to $545, contingent upon the lien being paid within 30 days of the council's decision, or it would revert to the original amount of $4,400, and the city is authorized to enforce the fine in accordance with the law.
We have a motion, there is a second.
A second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. So you said you have a closing next week, just so you understand the process. This particular board, we're not the final say. I will be at the December 15th council meeting to recommend that your lien amount be reduced from $4,400 to $545. Okay, you will have 30 days from that meeting to pay that off, okay? I don't know how that's going to impact your closing, but that's how it works. And just so you understand, council is under no obligation to accept our recommendation. They may or may not. You know, typically they do, but they're under no obligation to accept our recommendation. So if they do, you'll have 30 days from that date to pay the $545. If they don't, you have two options. You can appeal that decision, or you have 30 days to pay the $4,400. Okay, and again, I don't know how that impacts your closing, but I just want you to know all the facts before you left. Okay, thank you. Next case.
We will go ahead and start at the beginning. Repeat case number 23772, City versus Lila Naur Salhab for the property located at 12402 Pampas Place. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12922A, parking commercial vehicle in residential area. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case this evening is a repeat of a repeat violation case that was presented to the Code Board back on February the 12th, 2020 by me in repeat case number MCEB 20-0088, where the respondent was found in violation with the City Code ordinance with a commercial vehicle in a residential zone. The respondent was found guilty with a fine amount of $160, which has not been satisfied. On October the 24th, 2020, Director Baroni observed the commercial trailer parked stored in the driveway. Later that morning, I issued a door hanger with a compliance date of October the 28th, 2020. Director Baroni observed the commercial trailer again on the 13th, the 21st, the 23rd, and the 24th of November 2020. A notice of repeat violation was prepared and issued on November the 25th, 2020. No one was at home, so I posted the notice at the front door and requested copies be sent certified and first-class mail to the address of record. I also requested copies be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by Director Baroni and myself, and a copy of the two orders of findings by the MCEB in case number 19-4219 and 20-0088. Exhibit number 1 shows a notice letter posted at the front door. Exhibit number 2 shows a commercial trailer parked stored in the residential zone. Exhibit 3 is the commercial trailer parked stored in the driveway. Exhibit 4 to 7 shows the commercial trailer parked on the street.
We'll accept those, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And the current state, is it still not in compliance?
Mr. Chairman, as today's inspection by Director Baroni revealed the trailer parked in the street area. Therefore, the property remains out of compliance, and I'm seeking a ruling. In the past 2 years, there has been over 16 cases opened at this location for the same violation. I recommend to the board that that this evening a lump sum fine amount for the 7 days of noncompliance.
And the last non-compliance, it was a total of $160?
Yes, sir.
That hasn't been paid?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, Ernie, a question for you. Does that stand alone, or can we blend that into our current violation? How's that work?
This being a repeat violation, this will stand on its own. You will be able to issue whatever order, whatever fine you would like to do, but it's going to be on these particular observations based on this notice of repeat violation. This is a separate case.
Okay, but whatever we decide on this particular case does not erase the 160 that's still
No,
outstanding.
it'll all be in addition to. It's just
Okay.
another,
Thank you. Any other questions by the board?
So it's been out of compliance for 7 days currently.
For 7 different occasions.
Okay. And what was the original fine that was?
The original fine was $20 a day, sir, for those 8 consecutive days that the property remained out of compliance. The commercial trailer was over there. The board assessed a $20 a day fine for 8 days. So $160, sir.
And we don't know how many actual days it's been out of compliance, because every time you go back there, it happens to not be, it's out of compliance. So we don't
Kinda
know.
hit or miss, Mr.
Right,
Chairman. I mean,
that's what I'm
honestly.
saying. So we can't say it's been out of compliance for 30 days, because you go back there on a day and it's out of compliance. You don't go back the next day to check, and the next day, and the next day. That would be ridiculous. So we don't know the total number of days it's out of compliance. We just know that every time we've been back there, it has been out of compliance.
Yes, sir.
Have you made any contact with them?
I have. I've talked to the gentleman. I've recommended, alternative methods. Don't keep it at the house. You're going to have to find a permanent solution to the problem, and it just doesn't seem to stick. Still, the trailer keeps coming back to the house. They're not able to keep it at the house because it is a commercial trailer, so you'd have to store it off-site, somewhere else besides Temple Terrace, maybe in the city of Tampa, or possibly a storage place.
Samir, you had a question?
Yes, it's actually just a follow-up. So you spoke to someone at the property?
Yes, sir.
I see. And was that the owner, or?
That was the gentleman that owns the trailer, sir.
I see. And does he own the property?
No, sir. He's the son of the gentleman that owns it.
Oh, okay, so he's the son. So the owner is aware of the violation?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion. I assume the respondent's not here.
No, sir. He is not.
Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion. Come on, Bill.
Bill is thinking.
Well, I guess my thought process is that, just to be open about it, is that before I make a motion, is that apparently the $20 fine is not getting his attention, considering possibly making it more. If that would.
Well, the lawyer is looking for a lump sum.
Right. Although the
However you get to that.
the reading,
Yeah, however you get to that lump sum, we'll have a discussion period afterwards.
okay. All right.
We just don't want it to be a repeat of a repeat of a repeat.
Understood.
All right.
Doing a lump sum, would that change the verbiage at all from what we're reading? Because it says,
I think it, yeah.
I would have to take a look at the repeat, it's been a long time since I've
What-
looked at it.
Take a shot at
I
it,
think it'll do the math, if you do the math, it'll work out, I think, but let's,
take a shot at
we'll
it.
just take a shot. So in case number 20-3772, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 12402 Pampas Place. The applicable code section is 12-922 subsection A. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the respondent is found to be a repeat violator as defined by City Code Section 1-63 because the respondent has been found to have violated the same provision of the City Code within the previous 5 years, regardless of the property address. I further move that a daily fine be assessed for the repeat violations from the time of the notice of the repeat violation until the time the repeat violations are corrected. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violation committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $50 per day.
Okay, so,
So,
all right, so point of order. That, we're looking for a lump sum fine. So,
yeah, I
pick a
can,
number,
Yep.
and if it's $50 a day, let's say he's probably been out of violation for 30 days, whatever that math is what I would suggest you come up with, is do the math, and let's come up with a lump sum, and then we can discuss the lump sum as a board.
And if I may, Mr. Chair?
Absolutely.
Where you had read that a daily fine be assessed, I would recommend that if you go with a lump sum, you would just say, I further move that a lump sum fine
okay,
be assessed for the repeat violation, and kind of get rid of the daily aspect.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna amend the motion and say,
Well, before you do that, let's,
You said it was out of compliance for the seven times that you drove by, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
So yeah, I mean, it was $350 if you're doing $50 a day.
that's where I was headed.
hang on a second. Let me- I mean, if it was out of compliance for a month, that would be $1,500.
But that's the thing, we can't prove that it's out of compliance every
We can't
day.
prove it wasn't either. I mean, they've been dealing with this thing since how long?
16 violations.
Right, 16 violations for a 2-year period, sir. Yes,
I
we have
think
been
it's
definitely
reasonable to
dealing
assume
with
that
this
it was
trailer
out of compliance
for
for
a
at
little
least a
while.
month.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't want to go as a repeat of a
Right.
repeat of a repeat.
I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
this is
board members.
this particular case is the third repeat?
Second repeat?
Second
Yes,
repeat?
second, sir.
Okay, so he,
Original and 2 repeats.
so he was, the original, was he fined on the original?
On the NOV, no, sir. On the second one,
Second one, he was fined 160, he didn't pay it.
yes, sir.
So we're now back to
Repeat of a
repeat
repeat.
of a repeat, okay. And you're looking for a lump sum. So again, I think you guys should take all of that into consideration when you come up with your lump sum.
I have a question. Have you talked to him personally?
Yes, sir, I have. I've spoken with him as well as his father.
And what do they say?
They said that they would find another place to take care of it and bring it. I guess one place that they found to store it, it got broken into as they do construction. So then it kind of came back to the house after it was broken into. They just need to find a storage facility that has cameras, is a more secure location, sir, which I have suggested many, many times to both of them.
That's nearby.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so given that, go ahead and amend your motion.
Well, let me actually make a disclosure here. So this this owner is my cousin, actually.
Okay.
So I have to recuse myself.
Okay.
And I would like to add that I think the person that you spoke to is a renter, actually. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe that's why they don't know what's going on. But having said that, I will recuse myself from this vote.
But no one's spoken to you about this?
No.
All right, so amend your motion.
Okay, I further move that a lump sum fine be assessed for the repeat violations from the time the notice of the repeat violation until the time the repeat violations are corrected. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violation committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $350, 7 times the $50 per day. I'm not comfortable with fining somebody for something we don't have proof of, honestly, so.
So we have a lump sum fine of $350. Do we have we have an amended motion with a lump sum fine of $350? Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? One recusal. Motion carries. Next case.
Okay, next case will be case number 24115, City versus the Diocese of St. Petersburg for the property located at 5112 Rolling Hill Court. Case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 828A1 permits application required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively August the 27th, 2020. My inspection revealed work without permit for installation of a fence in the front and the side yard. At that time, I left a door hanger with the compliance date of September the 3rd, 2020. My inspection on the 18th of September 2020 revealed no change. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with the compliance date of September the 28th, 2020. No one was at home, so I posted the notice at the front door and requested copies be mailed both certified and regular mail to the address of record. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My inspection on November the 19th, 2020 revealed no change. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on the 21st of September 2020 showing the violations. Exhibit number 1 shows a notice letter posted at the front door. Exhibit number 2 shows a screenshot of work without permit.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
Thank you, sir.
So, what does that have to do with the fence? They're requiring a fence permit, right?
Yes, sir.
And that picture shows us,
It's just the door hanger. It shows that the.
oh, yeah, okay.
That it was posted at the front
Yeah,
door.
okay. Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, as of today's date, the site is now in compliance, and at this time, I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance, and I'm just looking for a finding, sir.
Thank you. We'll accept that. This is for the other whatever. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Thank you.
In case number 20-4115, I move that the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 5112 Rolling Hill Court. Violation number 8-28A1. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because of violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
The next case will be case number 24516, City versus Carla Antonia Vasquez Solis for the property located at 5414 Rainbow Drive. Case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required, Section 12225, zoning R10, single-family residential, and Section 12508, accessory structures uses. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated on September 17th, 2020, by a neighbor who notified code staff and community development that their neighbor was doing construction work without permits, and they believed that someone was utilizing the shed as living space. My visit on September 18, 2020, with Building Inspector Cheryl Bennett noted a fairly new built accessory structure in the rear yard that only had 2 feet setback that requires a 5-foot setback off the neighboring property line. I also noted a window air conditioner through the side wall, which also required electrical permit that was not obtained. In the rear of the shed, we noted that the hot and cold water pipes and the 3-inch drain valves in the rear of the shed, which also requires a plumbing permit that was not obtained. A notice of violation was prepared that same day with a compliance date of October 5th, 2020. I received a phone call from the Ms. Denny, who is the caretaker of the owner. She stated that the shed was present when they purchased the home. My inspection on November 11, 2020 noted no change. Therefore, the structure location nor any permits applications were submitted or obtained. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me on November 23, 2020. Exhibit number 1 shows the accessory structure in the rear yard closer than 5 feet from the neighbor's property line. Exhibit number 2 shows the air conditioner through the wall requiring the electrical permit. Exhibit number 3 shows the drain lines and the cold water lines in the back of the structure. Exhibit number 4 shows a screenshot showing the 3 permits that remain out of compliance, which is the stop work order. I'd like to submit it at this time as evidence.
We'll accept those. Thank you. So the drain lines you see, that's just for water only?
The drain lines, I would say, for a shower and a toilet.
Oh, really, the waste lines?
They're 3-inch, it's a 3-inch drain line.
Where's it,
Waste line.
where does it dump into?
I don't know,
Okay.
because
We haven't gotten a permit.
we never got into the rear of the property.
Okay.
We went to the neighboring property to observe the photos that you're gonna see are from the neighboring property. So I'll allow you to see the photos.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it goes anywhere. And so
Okay.
the explanation you got from the resident was that it was always there,
It was always there. That's-
including the air conditioner and the drain lines and everything?
Yes, yes. So as of today, the accessory structure has been demoed.
Oh, okay.
The PVC piping has been disconnected and the sewer lines have been disconnected.
Oh, okay.
Also, the garbage containers are also in compliance at the curb. We would also like to pull the violation of 12-225, which is the single-family residential zone.
Okay.
City staff really was not able to prove this, somebody that was occupying the structure, making a multi-family. So I have no proof, really. So we're gonna pull that from the violation detail.
Okay, but everything else is in compliance?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I'm also gonna submit an affidavit of compliance for the,
Well, let me ask you this, since the structure has been demoed, wouldn't that make the 12-225 go away anyway?
yes, but the the attorney and I feel that if there's no evidence to prove it, I think it's a violation that we don't want to
Okay,
have a finding for.
but it would all be in compliance anyway because the
That's
structure's no
correct.
longer there.
That's
Right,
correct.
but you would be making a finding, and we want to make sure.
Okay, you want to make sure we don't make a finding because you're, okay,
Right.
understood.
I'm going to submit an affidavit of compliance.
Thank you. Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
All right. In case number 20-4516, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 5414 Rainbow Drive, applicable code section 828A1 and 12-508. This motion is based on a sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record for this hearing. I further move that there'll be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Next case will be case number 24681, City versus Rebecca Chameleon for the property located at 402 Courtney Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 12921 parking residential property. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City is evidence that the notice of violation and the notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated proactively by Inspector Valenti on September 29, 2020. During his inspection, he noted yard parking and an operative vehicle with no tag. He left door hangers with compliance date of 10/5 and 10/12. During his inspection on October 19, 2020, he spoke to a subject at the residence who advised his brother was working to get the vehicle registered. He asked for the vehicle in the grass to be moved. On October 26, he noted no change, so he completed a notice of violation with a compliance date of November 9, 2020. Inspector Valenti posted the notice at the front door of the residence as well as City Hall. Copies were mailed, both certified, regular mail to the address of the registered owner. During his inspection on November 10, 2020, he found no vehicles parked on the yard grass and the inoperative vehicle with a current tag. That time, he brought the case into compliance. On November 23, 2020, I observed a vehicle parked on the yard grass of the residence. It was within 45 days. It was set for the MCEB. This time I have two photographs of the vehicle parked on the yard grass of the property I'd like to submit.
We'll accept those, thank you.
As of this date, the property is in compliance. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
We'll accept that, thank you. Any questions for the code officer? So if this happens again, it becomes a repeat?
If it happens again, it becomes repeat.
Thank you. Any further questions for the code officer? At this time, I entertain a motion.
I'll go for it.
Thank you.
In case number 20-4681, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence that the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code did exist on the property located at 402 Courtney Drive. Sections 12-921. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
We are going to skip on down to the last case. Case number 205288, City versus JR Premier Properties LLC for the property located at 608 Courtney Drive. Case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10(3)B sanitation grass weeds. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and the notice of hearing were both properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by Inspector Valenti on November 3rd, 2020. His inspection at the time noted the front yard grass to be overgrown. Door hanger was left with a compliance date of November 9th, 2020. During his inspection on November 10th, 2020, revealed no change. Director Baroni completed a notice of violation with a compliance date of November 16th, 2020. Inspector Valenti posted the notice at the front door as well as City Hall. He also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. Inspector Valenti inspected the property again on November 20 and noted no change. On November 23rd, 2020, I re-inspected the property and found the yard grass still overgrown. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the overgrown yard grass and the notice posted at the door.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
As of today's date, the property is in compliance. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
Thank you. We'll
That's
accept
looking
that.
for a finding on both of my cases.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
Yes. How many times did you have to go there? How many times did you have to go there before it was in compliance?
I was out on leave. When I came back, I took the case over. So I went, as soon as I came back, there on the 23rd, and it was out of compliance.
Code staff, I would say at least 5 times.
So it's now in compliance, right?
Yeah.
Now it's in compliance.
Well, should there be some consideration of when you would have to go out 5, 7, or 10 times before compliance comes about to pay for all that extra time?
The issue is with this property, it's vacant. It is being remodeled here and there. They stopped about a year ago any work at the residence, so it's vacant.
I think the case before this one also the same thing. If you have to go out there 5 or 10 times, someone should pay for that, and that's not me. or
In liens
not
in
you.
the past, they said that we can't include that, I remember when we've talked about lien reductions, because they're paying the salary anyway. So he's doing the job, he's gonna be driving his route, his area of the city regardless, whether that's in compliance or not.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Sure.
Also, they're asking for a finding, and that really, the fact that they went out there those several times is kind of going into the factor of they're pursuing at least a finding with no fine. That means next time it happens, if there's a finding of, without the thing, it'll be a repeat violation, which can increase the fine. So I think in the long run, all that is considered in the fact that they're going for a finding and haven't just dismissed the case and said, they're in compliance now, we're not gonna worry about it.
And if they were not in compliance, that's, we go through all those factors that we take into consideration when we come up with the daily fine. At that point, it would be, that the number of trips could be part of the consideration that goes into developing the daily fine.
Because we all want what's makes sense and what's kind and what's patient, but what's in your face and you go out there, over and over and over, then maybe we have too many code compliance officers. But if you got plenty of time to go out
Well, they each have,
many times,
That's just a process that we have to go through to get to this point.
well, then maybe they should pay for it, then is what I'm saying.
if they were not in compliance as of tonight, they would. But since they're in compliance, it's not, the role of this board is not to issue fines and collect fines. The role of this board is to get compliance.
Well, it seems like the two go hand in hand, I don't know.
I just think you're asking the same question I asked a long time ago particularly about parking violations, that couldn't we have a citation? But that was not a good idea. The code officers don't want to be in the business of citations, and it just, when I suggested it was, that's really the answer is to,
Well, it's something y'all have talked about. You
Yeah, well, let me,
can discuss it another-
I was gonna bring this up at the end. I'm going to ask the board tonight under new business, to attend a workshop. And we'll decide at that time when we have a workshop, and all those questions you have about that,
Yeah.
you can bring up at that time,
Okay,
okay?
great.
All right, so, we're looking for a motion. The property is in compliance. By the way, if you would, leave your mic on the whole time. We have a new audio system, and it doesn't like the mics being turned off,
really.
really.
Because before he told me to do just the opposite,
no,
because
well,
because my rustling of papers and
it's-
stuff was,
We're just keeping you on your toes.
okay, all right. I missed one meeting and everything changed.
Everything changes.
All right. In case number 20-5288, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence, the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 608 Courtney Drive, Code Section Violation, Section 10-3, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Next case, please. Motion passes, by the way.
Case number 20-4796, City versus Tampa Investment Holdings LLC for the property located at 104 Mission Hills Avenue. Case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 1034 sanitation, keep premises clean. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence that the notice of violation and the notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by Director Baroni on October 5th, 2020. My inspection on that date revealed 2 violations, a damaged garage door, and construction debris in the yard. I contacted the property representative, who stated the garage door was scheduled for repair that week and he would have the debris removed by October 10th. My reinspection on October 12th revealed the garage door was repaired, but the debris was not removed on October 13th. A notice of violation was prepared for the construction debris with a compliance date of October 23rd, 2020. I posted the notice on the site, and the notice was also posted at City Hall, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on November 24th showed no change, so a notice of hearing on that date was prepared, and the case was scheduled for the December Municipal Code Board meeting. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the site taken by myself on October 13th and November 24th, 2020.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation, and exhibit number 2 shows the construction debris. At this time, the site is in compliance, and I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance, and I'm seeking a finding.
Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll take that. In case number 20-4796, I move that the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code that exists on the property located at 104 Mission Hills Drive, according to violation 10-34. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Next case will be Case number 24799, City versus Ernesto C. Zoda for the property located at 5215 Holland Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 810213B, exterior walls maintained in good repair. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Officer Doug Allen. City has evidence of the notice of violation and notice of hearing were both properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on October 5th, 2020. My inspection on that date revealed stained exterior walls. I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of October 12th, 2020. My reinspection on October 21st revealed no change and a notice of violation was prepared with a compliance date of October 29th. I posted the notice on the site and the notice was also posted at City Hall. Copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on November 18th showed no change, so a notice of hearing was prepared on that date, and the case was scheduled for the December Municipal Code Board meeting. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the site taken by myself on October 21st and November 19th, 2020.
Thank you. We'll accept those.
Exhibit number 1 shows the posting of the notice of violation. Exhibit number 2 shows stained exterior walls. Exhibit number 3 shows stained exterior walls. The site is not in compliance and I am seeking a ruling.
Thank you. Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. In case number 20-4799, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence that the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace code exist on the property located at 5215 Holland Avenue. Applicable code section 810213B. This motion is based on a sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photo affidavits and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record for this meeting. I further move that said violation be corrected on or before January 13, 2021. If the respondent does not comply with the order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any action taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violation committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Okay, we are going to go on to unfinished business.
Okay?
So the first case, case number 23091, City versus Fadi N. Herbawi and Candy Almagath for the property located at 7932 Terrace Ridge Drive. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Lori Smith for Section 12861E6, dated November 17th. Case number 23200, City versus Natalie Anderson for the property located at 105 Deer Park Avenue. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Director Tom Baroni for Section 828A1, dated November 13th. Case number 23485, City versus Rima Nihad Ramuni and Mohammed N. Zabata for the property located at 8022 Terrace Ridge Drive. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Officer Lori Smith for Sections 810213B and 810213C, dated December 3rd. Case number 23740, City versus Mark P. Rodriguez and Pamela Gomez for the property located at 315 Brentwood Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 23668, City versus Devora Rivkin for the property located at 12912 North 53rd Street. The extended deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 23898, City versus MC2 Innovations Inc. for the property located at 502 Courtney Drive. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Director Tom Baroni for Section 8102-14A, dated November 19th. Case number 23967, City versus SWH 2017-1, borrower LLP for the property located at 8518 Queen Brooks Court. I believe the deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight for that case. Case number 24202, City versus McNatt Family Enterprises LTD for the property located at 12404 North 56th Street. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 24518, City versus Paul Stewart Jr. and Donna McRae Stewart for the property located at 1519 North River Hills Drive. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni for Section 828A1, dated December 2nd. And lastly is case number 24952, City versus Al Aqsa Corporation for the property located at 10801 North 56th Street. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni for Section 828A1, dated November 20th.
Thank you. Anybody, any other board action? Anybody else have any new business? Well, I do. When will the single application we have, or the multiple applications we get between now and then go in front of council for the new member?
When?
Yes.
We have one application submitted, and that will go to council on January 5th.
Okay. And our next meeting is the 13th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The board has expressed interest in the past in having a workshop. Is that something that you could put together by the 13th, or do we need to do it in February?
No, I'm very sure I can do it by the 5th, in the January meeting.
January 13th? Okay, what's the board's preference? You want to come in a half an hour early? You think you need half an hour is enough, or an hour?
I'm thinking like 3 hours. No, that's fine. However long the board would like.
Let's go for an hour. If you guys want to come in, it's at 5:30 instead of 6:30 that night? Yes. That work for everybody? Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, Kristen, to let everybody know that there'll be a workshop prior to the January 13th meeting. I guess we need a motion. Would somebody please make a motion to put the workshop on the agenda?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we put the workshop on the agenda
Starting.
for January the 13th at 1 hour earlier than usual.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. So on January 13th, we'll have a workshop prior to the regular code board meeting, starting at 5:30. Certainly, the code enforcement officers are welcome to attend. I don't know that it's absolutely required. It's certainly required for the board members to be there, especially new board members. And we'll cover fines and how we do things and you know, being consistent with the fines and all that good stuff.
And I was going to say, and kind of going through what the code enforcement process is, so you know what's happened before it's come to you.
I was just curious, are all the new members getting this book?
That's a question for Kristen.
Are the new board members getting this booklet that we got when we did the last
Yes.
workshop?
Yeah, everyone, I think.
You all got it, okay.
I'd like to say something in addition to what I
Well,
said.
just a minute, I'll give you a minute. So, but in addition to that, if anybody has any specific questions that they want to go over, that's been nagging at them, get them to Ernie, I'd say no later than January 5th or 6th, so he has time to work on it.
Your email address on
Right, or I would suggest sending it to Kristen.
Kristen?
She'll get
Okay.
it to me.
Okay,
Okay.
And and don't put anybody else's, just to Kristen.
Just send it to Kristen,
right?
yeah.
So we don't have a
so
sunshine.
let's try to get them in by the 6th or 7th, so they give time for them to work on the answer, if they don't know what it is already. Floor is yours.
Well, I said something like, maybe there's too many code enforcement officers. Well, hey, listen, take that as a joke, mainly, okay? Y'all, actually, to go back to be very patient, I think y'all do a very good job in being patient like you are and doing it over and over and over. I mean, actually makes your job hard, and maybe you need more code enforcement officers, the more patient you are. That was the idea. I didn't really say it very well, but I think y'all do a great job, and your patience is good. I mean, with all of us, even me, I mean, at some point in time. And, but I think it come to a point in time where someone may need to pay for that if it's just, just over the top. It's too many times type thing. That's what I had in mind, but it's not the first time someone thought of that, of course.
Yeah, and we can discuss that during the workshop.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any new business? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to announce I had one more affidavit that I didn't say during unfinished.
Okay.
I just wanted to put it on the record.
Okay.
I had an affidavit of non-compliance for case number 203967, which is SWH 2017-1 Barrer LP, and that's for 8518 Queenbrooks Court. That's an affidavit of non-compliance dated November 13th for 103B and 810213B.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, everybody.
Last workshop.